In this episode, we will discuss about what is happening next door neighbor in Pakistan. Last couple of weeks, there have been a series of activities happening in within Pakistan. And 2 weeks ago, the Tehrik-e-Taliban, it is called the Punjabi Taliban or Pakistan Taliban, they have declared that they have created a parallel government within Pakistan in the northwestern provinces and federally administered tribal areas where they have been quite strong. And Pakistan government, they have been fighting this war against Punjabi Taliban or the Pakistani Taliban quite some time. In this episode, we'll discuss that what is the latest, the rising tension between the Pakistan government and the state and the Punjabi Taliban. It is a Frankenstein monster which was created by Pakistan 10 years ago, and now it has become a Frankenstein monster challenging the Pakistan government and the sovereignty of Pakistan. By declaring a separate parallel government, the TTP has declared the free zones like Peshawar, Dera Ismail Khan, Malakand. These are the provinces where the Pashtun majority, the communities are very strong. And if you look at the map, the Pakistan, the bordering between the Pakistan and the Afghanistan, that entire where the Durand line runs, that divides Pakistan with Afghanistan, it's full of the Pashto community living for the ages. And this has been a bone of contention between Pakistan and the respective Afghan government, being it the Taliban or before, a bone of contention that the line cannot divide Muslims, the Durand line, especially the Pashtun communities, where the families are being divided by this line. All you know, the Durand line, which came into existence in 1893 by the British, and the Pakistan in 1947, it has accepted the Durand line as the line that divides Afghanistan, where the current Taliban dispensation refused to recognize this line as the borders. So the new Taliban, when they came to seized power in last year, they became more emboldened, particularly the Taliban, Punjabi Taliban. The Punjabi Taliban, they have been fighting with many incidents. The terrorist incidents happened in Pakistan, within the Pakistan. In fact, one of the most notorious attack happened in the schools where the army officer kids were studying. I think a couple of 5-6 years ago. And that's one of the that caught international attention against the Punjabi Taliban. The current leader Nur Wali Masood, who has also soon after Pakistan, the Taliban has taken hold of Kabul, has given his allegiance to the Afghan Taliban, saying that the TTP will remain as an offshoot of Afghan Taliban within Pakistan to unite the Pashtun. So with these developments, when the government are trying to, the current government led by the coalition government led by Shehbaz Sharif, trying to sort of reach out to these TTPs. And when they appointed the Chief of Army Staff, the Pakistan new Chief of Army Staff, they declared that they are pulling out of ceasefire with the Pakistani government. They had started series of terrorist attacks and incidents happened, and even they threatened the Prime Minister as well as the Foreign Minister, the young Bilal Bhutto. Last month, when the Deputy Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani Khan visited Afghanistan to sort of reach an agreement with the Taliban government against the TTP, with the request that the Afghanistan should not become a safe haven for TTP activities. But the defense minister Yaqub did not give audience to her. Then she met only the interior minister and articulated her the Pakistani's stand and positions that the TTP should not given a safe passage or support from the Afghan Taliban. But there was no formal agreement has reached. Once he returned back, and then the series of activities and the incidents that started happening, the government became completely clueless. The army completely became clueless. Although there are options are available to launch a massive military strike, airstrike against the TTP. So if I give a brief, what is this TTP? Where are the strongholds? The TTP has grown much in the last 10 years, especially when the American troops, when they proposed to withdraw from Afghanistan in 2011, when Obama announced. And then the cadre strength, roughly according to the Western estimate, is around 3,000, 2,000 to 3,000. It's official record. Maybe perhaps in even a conservative estimate, it would have been then 9,000 or 10,000. But today the official estimates crossed 10,000, which means their strength may be more than 50,000, and that's the reason that they have the audacity to announce that they formed a parallel government within the Pakistan, and that threatens the Pakistan's the sovereignty. So now the Pakistan's existential threat is coming from the TTP, not the politicians. They used to say that India is the Pakistan's existential threat. Now, what is the Pakistan's current dispensation towards this TTP? The TTP, to an extent, enjoyed sort of a considerable patronage from when Imran Khan was a prime minister. Given he's himself a Pathan and representing that western provinces which were neglected. There are other allegations or the grievances from the western provinces, especially Peshawar, and that is the reason. One of the reasons that that region remained underdeveloped, is that the Pakistan government and the military is much more focusing on developing Punjab or to an extent the Sindh provinces rather than the rest of the provinces. And if you look at the ethnic demography of Pakistan, they control the Gilgit-Baltistan to Balochistan. So if they integrate the TTP, integrate the Pashtuns, and with the support of Afghan Taliban, I think that this is sort of a deepening the ethnic fault lines of Pakistan that perhaps may lead to the balkanization of Pakistan or disintegration of Pakistan, and they may go for they may lead it may lead to a civil war. Now the question is, the mighty Pakistan army, why can't they eliminate with their military offensives on these TTPs, given the size and populations? I think the past experience, which was even led by Parvez Musharraf and General Bajwa also continued, and Ragil Sharif also continued this operation, Zarbi Azab. So all the experience shows that the army is sort of measuring the options, weighing the options, other options rather than resort to the military options, because that will be more counterproductive. That would even strengthen the TTP's cadre base, and they may have more recruitments. We have seen that a lot of air raids happened in the past did not yield much result and wipe out completely TTP. And with the Taliban in power in Afghanistan, and they have been emboldened since they are getting support from Taliban, tacit support from Taliban regime in Afghanistan. Although the officially Taliban government headed by the Habibullah Akhundzada has refused that we will not give any space for a terrorist organization to operate from the Afghan soil. Now, the Pakistan, given its economic situation, current economic situation, they are looking for IMF bailout, monetary support from IMF, and they are indebted to their debt has increased under the CPAC with the Chinese. So they're looking for some sort of assistance, and the only the way to get the assistance is with the US support. And US is also has shown sort of keen interest in supporting Pakistani government and military to take a strong action against Pakistan. They have even promised some sort of joint collaboration or operations using drone attacks, targeted killings, leadership decaptivation on Taliban leaders. So these are the military options. They have been working on it, and Pakistan is expected to get some US assistance on this, particularly deal with this particular menace. Now the question comes to mind that why not their all-weather friend? The China can't help Pakistan to take action against military action against or some sort of against the TTP. The Chinese government, to my mind, that they have been very reluctant or very reticent to support any sort of giving military assistance or to against eliminate these terrorist groups, because they see that there may be some backlash. What if unnecessarily we get into fighting against the TTP? Then their interest and investment in Afghanistan and their rapport with the current Taliban regime. And that had sort of a diplomatic effort helped them to protect their policies in Uyghur, the way they are handling Xinjiang provinces, and their the sort of an anti-Muslim and anti-Islam things they could able to manage it. So Pakistan now find it sort of left alone to deal with this menace, and they are in a catch-22 situation. What is a catch-22 situation? There are some debate within the Pakistani strategic community that since this incident has become more problematic, discussing about that should we go for a negotiation, some sort of political solution? Can we get them on the negotiation table for an agreement? But the hawkish tend to see that should not reflect as the Pakistan government is weak and the Imran Khan is on the march, and next year they are going to face the elections, general elections. The coalition government is facing a tough challenge by TTP. So they don't want to show that the government is very weak handling terrorism and especially TTP. So they are trying all other options to sort of either to divert attention or sort of looking for some sort of back channel negotiations with the TTP with the help of their assets with the Afghan Taliban current dispensation. But all seems to be not yielding immediate results. Given the conviction of the Taliban, the government has mentioned that the Durand line should not be fenced and the community should not be divided. So the conflict has become more of ethnic dimension rather than a sort of a modern state between it's a border dispute between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And the Taliban, given their past experience of negotiating with even the United States, and after the takeover, they have that they're more strengthened and emboldened that they could defeat America, US, the international forces. So for them, they are very confident that they can easily get what they want in with the Pakistan without even negotiation. And they have their own the fringe terrorist organizations which are being operated along the Peshawar and Quetta and the northwestern frontier provinces. That would help them. And this is also attributed to these successive Pakistan government have been neglecting that area for the long period. So there were no employment opportunities, development happened. Even if you look at the CPAC, which is also in the Punjabi and the Sindhi provinces, covering Sindhi provinces, most of the investments not on the rest of the other side. So it is sort of a catch-22 situation. The government cannot offer olive branch to these terrorist organization to come for a talk and some sort of a solution. What if the TTP puts a demand that we will have a separate provinces, what they have been declared the parallel government and appointed judiciary and defense ministers. So that is the situation, and military option is also not viable. I don't think so, given the past experience operations they have conducted. Army officers, they are not keen to go for a immediate military action against Taliban because it is very difficult given the nature of the border, the other side, and there is no the support from the Afghan Taliban to flash out or to completely eliminate the TTP. So the government is in either of the option would yield a sort of a negative counterproductive for the Pakistani government. Now, what will be? Is there any resonance or reflection of this internal thing which is going to happen in the Jammu Kashmir in particular and the overall India's national security? If you look at the pattern of Pakistan, how they dealt with the internal threats, they are always trying to bring the external threats and whip up the Kashmir question and try to internationalize the incident, or maybe the sort of increase the number of terror activities across the border. So that is one of the ready-made options they have in order to divert their attention to show that provoke India, then India will react at the current dispensation, given the fact that they have done already. So this will be totally diverted towards the western, the eastern border with India, and so that they can quietly manage on the eastern side and eliminate those groups. So there will be chances. This is one hypothesis or proposition. There is a chances that the deep state in Pakistan may perhaps maybe whip up increase the number of terror activities or terror pads on cross-border terrorism. They are going to do it, and given the fact that FATF has also sort of removed Pakistan from the grey list, And another interesting thing happened in December first week, where the United Nations Security Council has also exempted the through the carve-outs, sanction carve-outs on the sanctioned regimes, including the terrorist organization which are running charity organizations for humanitarian assistance and needs. So under this context, that it seems that Pakistan completely now it is totally expecting the US to help them to flush out the TTP menace before they entering into election, and that's a big challenge for the Shabash and Bilawal alliance, and it is also army's priority to sort of keep the Imran Khan the wave, the so-called wave at bay, at least from next 6 months to eliminate. So this is a big challenge before the Pakistan faces a general election.